On today's episode, we're going to show you some differences between spray foams that you can use in your hobby creations. I thought spray foam was spray foam. I'd go to the big box store, I'd pick off the shelf the first thing I would find. But as I got more into using spray foams for the crafting, there was an obvious difference between them. Number one, not all stores carry all brands. Price points are quite different depending on where you go, online versus the box store, all kinds of different things to consider. But for the home hobbyist, the difference in price, $1 a can, may not really be the difference maker for you. It's going to be about the end results of what the spray foam provides for your project. So as we like to say in the pavement preservation business, it's about having the right material on the right job at the right time. And spray foam for home hobbyists is the same. Okay, so I have a few different brands laid out here. I'm not endorsing any one particular brand. They all have their unique attributes. Chemically, the way that they react to water and air as they cure is very similar. Some are a little bit more dramatic than others, and these are the things that I want to learn so that I use the right material on the right job at the right time. So the first can this is Red Devil, and the shapes that I'm showing you today were formed from a previous video on how to make a silicone mold. So there you can see some very distinct differences between them, and one of them would be the Red Devil expands quite a bit more than I should say the Loctite. So this is the Loctite high density foam. This is General Electric. Never knew General Electric made spray foam. There you go. The Gorilla spray foam, great stuff. Window and door spray foam. This is the Loctite Gaps and Cracks, great stuff. Gaps and Cracks. And I went to a store that I was not expecting to find spray foam and found that brand called Worth. Okay. Each one of these foams was sprayed into the mold and allowed to cure at the same rates, and then the foam was pulled out of the mold, and what you see are the end results. So I'll just talk about each one of these independently. The Red Devil, again, creates a little bit thicker because of the expansion. That's a solid piece. Gives me a lot of ability to trim off extra if I need to get this to fit into the project that I want at the end of the day. It also is dense enough on the surface that I can carve and create more of the detail that I want to see in the finished product. The Loctite products, and I'll just put these two together. Very similar in terms that you're going to get the same size mold in terms of the thickness. The expansion of the two different products is very similar. Densities are pretty close as well. The interesting thing about the Loctite material is that it is, I would say, stringier, for lack of a better term. So when I formed this one, the cracks, I had to go back and refill them in during the process, and you can see that these additional shots were on the back. So this one took 2 applications, so 40 minutes instead of 20 to get a complete finished product. But that, sometimes the extra time is not a problem. It really is about the finished product. General Electric. This is similar in terms of the density of the Loctite products, but one thing that you'll notice about it is I got some shrinkage. So as it expanded taller during the curing process, it also shrunk. So if I were to go to this exclusively for this particular mold, I might need to make a larger mold to account for the shrinkage that will happen over time. The Gorilla product, very unique in its color. A little bit of a purple hue to it. I don't care, I'm going to paint it. It's also very dense. was a little harder to get out of this tube. So this product, I had to take the nozzle off and just spray it like a can of whipped cream. I think you get the mental image. The window and door has a yellow appearance, and it is spongy. You can see when I press this, it does compress really easily. This would make it a little bit more challenging to carve this with a knife or with a grater. It's just very soft, and I'm not getting a lot of material off of this. Okay. Again, it has its applications, but for this project, I'm probably not going to use this long term. We already looked at the Loctite material. This is also a great stuff product, and you can also see with it, I got considerable amount of shrinkage. Not what I'm going to use going forward for this kind of application. The Worth product, similar to the Red Devil, a little bit more on the expansion, but it did retain its shape in terms of the mold size diameter. Okay. It's semi-dense, so in terms of hardness, it would be between the window and the door and the Loctite. I could probably carve this, but I might want to use a Dremel tool instead of a file. Something that's has sandpaper on it. Those are the different foams that I've used. I'm sure there are other foams out there. I did not demo the fire resistant foam or the bug resistant foam. I think I have enough of a selection here for me to choose which product I want to use for my hobby creations. For things that I can mold, that's an interesting question. The Loctite, and I watched this video of a gentleman who's on Stilt Beast. He was using the Loctite foam, and I really enjoy watching his art. He's very creative and he's very patient. He layers and layers and layers as he's using the foam. But I could see that after about 15 to 20 minutes, he was able to manipulate it with his hands while it was still semi-soft and form it more definitively into the shape that he wanted. The other part of the Loctite, the other benefit is that you can spray paint this and it won't dissolve. And that's what we're going to look into next. Are the other foams like Loctite that you can spray paint them, or do you need to use enamel or some other kind of sealer to protect them?